Hello. Do you know that the safety of the human environment has been threatened with a lot of challenges? Some of those challenges could fall under the broad classification of either being a biological challenge, environmental challenge, or health-wise challenge. But also, research has shown and indicated that the most significant and impactful challenge to the safety of the human environment has been hazards. Do you know that within our society, generally, we have various substances, circumstances, and events that constitute a hazard? And these events and circumstances are found in our churches, workplace, school, even in our homes. Yes. And the truth is, we cannot understand the concept of hazard without explaining the idea of risk. We can therefore say that, furthermore, what we've explained, an idea of hazard has been passed, and risk can be understood as the harm realized from a specific event combined with the magnitude of potential harm. Okay, so with the knowledge at hand, we can therefore give a literal and satisfactory definition to hazard. Brian Okote, a member of Group 1 research team of the College of Technology 300 level, and this research team has been commissioned with the responsibility of providing risks and possible hazardous information in the twin building of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources. So on the 25th of September, my group carried out a risk assessment on the twin building and were able to identify and analyze various hazards. So today, I will be discussing the various types of hazards. The physical hazard as the first type of hazard we'll be discussing today. The physical hazard is an hazard that poses as an agent, a circumstances, or an object that can only cause damage to the victim only when the victim is in contact with the hazard. Examples include a damaged chair, as you can see in the image, and further examples could include broken glass, and so on and so forth. The electrical hazard is a part and parcel of a physical hazard. Why? Simply because it can cause damage to the victim when the victim is in contact with the hazard. So the electrical hazard, as we are seeing in the image in front of you, an example is a frayed wire. A frayed wire that has resulted from an improper electrical connection. So when the victim is in contact with the exposed wire, it leads to electrocution, and possibly, based on the intensity of shock, could possibly lead to death. The third type of hazard I'll be discussing with you is the biological hazard. As we know, the biological hazard has a lot to do with how the environment, the biological environment specifically, can constitute as a hazard to the human health. With the image in front of you is an example of a dirty toilet in the twin building. When we performed our risk analysis, we discovered that there is a possibility that dangerous bacteria that have been residing in the accumulated dirt in the toilet can constitute a biological hazard. Safety hazard, the last type of hazard I will be discussing with you today. And in every sense, it's one of the most important type of hazards. So why then is it called safety hazard? Simply because it's the most common type of hazard. We encounter more of these hazards in our everyday activity more than every other type of hazards. So with the image presented in front of you, you can see an example of water spilled on the floor. That is an example of safety hazard, because if someone is in contact with the spilled water, it will end up in a trip or a fall. So how can hazards like this be taken care of? With the use of a caution sign, which should be employed in the case like this. This is Group 1 research team of the College of Technology carrying out what we call a safety inspection. This group has been assigned with the responsibility of looking for safety hazard and or safe practices throughout the facility. So the end result of this inspection, a lot of hazards were identified.